Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to Strategic Command World at War, a turn-based World War II strategy game that allows you to play through the Second World War from either the Allied or the Axis perspective. It is January of 1942 in our Let's Play, and the Germans are driving deep into the heart of Russia. They're along the Caucasus front. They're also advancing on Moscow. They haven't yet taken Smolensk. We've delayed them a little bit more effectively than historical, but the winter just struck, damaged some of their units. That's held them up a little bit, but I'm assuming in the next turn or two, they will start making serious drives on Moscow, on Rostov, and on Leningrad, and frankly, we are not equipped to resist them. They have massively more forces than we do on the Eastern Front. The Russian army has been ravaged. The economy of the Russian army, or of the Russians, has not been up to par, and we are dealing with some serious challenges there. On the Chinese front, things are going relatively well. Japanese did land at Hong Kong and took the city, but we're actually driving deep into the heart of China. On the North African front, we've nearly won the war in North Africa, and so hopefully that will allow us to very quickly pivot our forces to the liberation of Europe, to attacking Italy. Italy is kind of an interesting situation because with Vichy France still neutral, if we were able to knock Italy out of the war, land at Rome, land at Naples, the only viable transport route for the Axis powers to come into Italy and bring reinforcements is through Venice in the north. So it kind of is intriguing that maybe we could land forces at like Genoa, driving toward Bologna, and then cut off all of Italy through some sort of delaying action in the front. We do have American troops on transports that are nearing the European continent, but we don't have any headquarters, so their ability to strike inland is going to be pretty limited. The Spanish have also declared war on the Allies, and so that makes things a little bit more complicated. And so I don't really know what the best strategy is. I've thought about an invasion at Bordeaux because there's a very narrow front there between Vichy and the rest of France that could potentially draw German forces from the Eastern Front while also allowing us to isolate and destroy Spain. There's a lot of different options, but I'm not quite sure what we'll do. We do have to finish off Italy this turn, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to jump forward to February, and we're going to see what the war has entailed for us. Greek partisans are disrupting supply for the Axis in Greece, so that's good. It means the Germans are under garrisoning Greece. Meanwhile, it looks like Bordeaux is being hit as well, which probably means there's no German garrison in Bordeaux. Gives us a little bit of intelligence there. Malta's hindering Axis supply in North Africa, which is a little bit less relevant because, frankly, the Axis don't have much in the way of North African forces left. We do get our British commando unit in northern England. The Normandy ocean liner mysteriously sinks in New York Harbor. I don't really know what that's all about. UK is developing advanced fighters level 3. Infantry weapon development is making some progress in Russia. Not that we would have any money to equip our troops with those weapons. We're sending a lot of supplies to the USSR to try and stimulate their economy. The USA is sending 40 MPPs. That turns into 80 for the Russians. The UK is sending 171 MPPs. That turns into 171 MPPs. The British economy is being drained. Only 128 supply is going to Britain. They're losing over 25% of all their commerce at sea, and they're also sending 171 of their economy to the Russians. So we probably need to reconsider that allocation because the British simply are just starving. They have no economy left to rebuild the casualties they've taken in North Africa, let alone pay for sending troops onto transports to getting them in the fight for Italy or Spain. They need to spend money to get troops on amphibious craft, and they don't have the money to do that. Japanese Navy showing back up at Pearl Harbor. Interesting. So they just destroyed a heavy cruiser of ours. It'll be interesting to see if those ships stick around. The weather was very bad, which prevented our aircraft carriers from being able to fly. But it looks like they may have just done a hit-and-run attack there and maybe pulling back. Japanese armor in China may make things much more difficult. They've sort of linked back up with Japanese troops near Henan and brought supply lines, or at least theoretically have opened the supply line to those troops. China may be in serious trouble if we're going to have to start dealing with large numbers of Japanese armor. Okay, a lot of Axis submarines moving around. Strategic bombing of the hinterland in China. Tactical bombing of army units there is getting more effective. That's very concerning. Thus far, their tactical bombing has been largely ineffective in China, but they've started over the last 2 turns to do some serious damage to some of our units, nearly destroying a Chinese army there in the process. Wouldn't be surprised if they move some infantry down there to hit them. Meanwhile, German armor is moving in Russia. We just lost a Chinese army there in central China. I think the Chinese, at the end of the day, the Chinese are going to be overwhelmed eventually. We really need to open up a second front against the Germans to bring the pressure, but we also need to figure out a way to start counterattacking against the Japanese there. These fortifications aren't going to do it. Bit of a slogfest in the winter fighting in the south of Russia so far. Not a ton of decisive action there. Meanwhile, we just lost an army near Changsha in central southern China. Japanese landing forces on New Guinea. They've also finished taking the Dutch East Indies and the Philippines this turn. I wonder if... I don't think there's any way for America to land troops in Russia and then have them turn into Russians. Like a Lend-Lease type deal. I think it's just reflected by sending supplies there. As long as the winter holds, I think we'll prevent an outright breakthrough by the Germans there. You can see they're moving, but they're not moving very fast at places like Leningrad or down near Rostov. And we're inflicting reasonable casualties. The problem is going to come not this turn, but the following turn. Or if not the following turn, then 2 turns from now when the spring hits. That's going to be when the real challenges come. Japanese naval forces are pulling back out. Looks like it might still be rainy in the Pacific. If it does clear up, I wouldn't mind using my carriers to make a strike at them. But my air wings were pretty badly ravaged. The good thing is we did sink 2 Japanese fleet carriers and crippled a 3rd. The fall of Smolensk is boosting Axis morale. The Dutch East Indies is surrendering. Japan gets a nice little windfall there. Mao Zedong is concerned at Japanese advances in China. That may bring the communist Chinese on our side. Meanwhile, we're getting some free naval forces in India deploying due to the fall of the Dutch East Indies. New Japanese supply lines are opening up due to the capture of the Dutch East Indies in terms of their oil supply routes. And that's going to do it for that turn. So the first thing, so it looks like Chengdu is damaged by bombing. The Chinese CXX Corps, I'm not sure. I can't remember what C stands for. Is it the 120th Corps? Chicago Heavy Cruiser sunk. Batavia Corps destroyed. Far East Air Force destroyed. 4th Chinese Army destroyed. And some morale updates. Now we're going to get some intelligence. Looks like those are level 3 German fighters, I believe. Focke-Wulf 190s. It's still snowing. Italy's getting a corps of troops. The U.S. is getting the Idaho battleship. Russia's going to get multiple garrisons and corps. Hopefully that's helpful in slowing the German advance. Throw a corps in at Orel. They'll die, but they may delay the enemy a bit. Throw a corps up there. Or, sorry, garrison up there. 1 corps and 2 armies are available now. So we'll throw them. One of the corps and one of the armies will be thrown in near Moscow, I think. Then we'll put one of the other corps, I think, up near Leningrad. Indian Special Forces coming online. We really need a new Indian Army. 2nd Australian Corps. Looks like they can only deploy there. And then the Idaho. Does it have to deploy at Los Angeles? Can't deploy at Hawaii by the looks of it. Could deploy it off the East Coast, I'm sure. Okay. And I kind of want to leave these guys to entrench and reinforce a little bit. Upgrade these guys with infantry weapons. Alright, we're going to upgrade the troops we can in Russia that are not touching the enemy and that are also in need of upgrade. It's actually not most of them. Most of the troops are already upgraded. Alright. We will operate these guys north to Moscow where they can reinforce. These guys are going to pull back to Verge, or however you pronounce that. These guys are going to stand on the... these guys I think will stand here. Stand pat. God, all these guys' readiness and morale is so low. Alright, we'll hold them in place. Reinforce the troops we can and hope to hold the line for another turn or two. Move our headquarter unit back this way. Can we bomb these guys? Probably going to run into interceptors, yep. Nice. We inflicted 2 casualties on their air force there. We didn't do any damage, but any damage, and I know we're going to take some casualties here, but in my mind any damage we can do to the enemy tanks is important. Try and cut them off, but that's probably unwise. Get those anti-aircraft guns around Moscow working. Let's go ahead and reinforce this guy to max. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to move him to Tula. I clicked on the wrong part on the map. Damn it. Alright, well there's not a lot we can really do all that effectively up here in the north. I could move my armor in there, but that seems foolhardy. I'm sure these guys are going to get intercepted. Oh, wow. No interception there? Well, that worked out pretty well. I'll take the one hit on them. Okay, so that probably does it for the Russian move. We do need to make some purchases. So Russia has 388 income left. I mean, we probably want to focus it on infantry. So we'll purchase the 1 reinforcement unit because we get it at a discount. Then we can purchase 1 mechanized unit there at a discount. And 1 garrison unit there. 2 garrison units there. So we purchased 2 garrison units, an army, and a mechanized unit. That'll all be coming in March and April. Hopefully in time to come before the German spring offensive. We'll continue to try and raid German supply lines with our Russian naval units. You know, the American ships are still at least a turn away. Let's focus on finishing off the Italians in North Africa. use all my artillery up, so we won't. Alright, so we've taken Tripoli, which does it for the North African front. So it looks like I can throw one unit on a long-range transport immediately, which kind of makes me wonder if I could throw... So the problem with Italy is they've got 1, 2, 3 alternate capitals in addition to Rome. They have troops in... They have troops in Palermo, which is an alternate. They have troops in Naples and in Rome. They even have a German paratrooper unit near Rome. So we might be able to surprise and destroy one of these guys. But the Germans may be already pretty heavily garrisoning the Italian peninsula there. There's a pioneer company there. That was probably unwise to move that destroyer there. Submarines you can do that with because they can't effectively kill them, but they could certainly bomb. So intelligence indicates a German pioneer engineer unit, a German paratrooper unit in Italy. Looks like they're building a line of fortifications north of Naples because they've got 2 forts here and they have an engineer east of Naples there, so they're certainly preparing for an invasion of Italy. Part of me just wants to drop a core somewhere, but the problem is I can't, like... These guys really need to be long-range transports. So they've got coastal forts here near Brest. Well, I just got that light cruiser sunk. They're for sure going to pound it. Do they have good weather? I don't have any good weather I can strike them with. Oh, wait, yes! Long range... Oh, shit, interceptors. But we got escorts! Oh, shit. Boom! We got it! We sank a German ship in port. Nice. Can't get down to Bilbo down there. I'm sure the subs will still come for us. They're coming for us! Alright, so Germany is building the West Wall for sure. Alright, we're getting some escorts. Shooting down some German fighters. Losing a few bombers of our own. The goal is obviously to do recon here to see what they've got. Gonna get my bombers shot up for intelligence. Nice. Bomber evaded damage. They've got a lot of troops in France as well. They have Italian headquarters units up here. Jeez Louise. In any event, so I don't think a single armored unit is gonna win in Italy based on what I'm looking at now. Doesn't look like the British Navy can sail through the strait either, so I'm tempted to land the Americans near Cadiz and try and retake Gibraltar and reopen up the Med. Because that seems like our only real... Looks like we are blocked off there. So if we do that... I don't know. Looks like we are bottled up in the Med. Okay, so that kind of does it for the British moves. I don't want to put more troops on transports. Frankly, I should probably get these guys off transports. I'd love to land them somewhere. I hate the idea of wasting the money, but I don't have anywhere to land these guys. They need to be on long-range transports anyway. Frankly, we need to rebuild the fleet. I really probably should be spending that money on the Australians, though. Okay. Damn it, I tried to get lucky! Yeah, we drove those Japanese destroyers back. We really need to put some troops on transports and send them to Moresby. I should have saved money to do that. I don't think they can get to Moresby this turn, but we should get some troops there next turn. If they don't send them via... It's all still rainy down here, too. Alright, the Americans need to reinforce their aircraft carrier wings. Since they were so badly damaged. I don't know if we can upgrade too. I think we just need to focus on reinforcements at the moment. Okay, so our carrier wings are going to be completely reinforced. So that'll be good. We've rebuilt from that battle there. The naval vessels are working on it. They still have some damage to repair. I mean, we're obviously massively outclassed by the Japanese also, but that new battleship will help a little bit. I really need a headquarters unit in Europe. I don't have that yet. Also, if these guys sitting on transports, probably shouldn't do that either. Can we operate these guys to, like, North Africa? We can. I don't know what good it'll do me. Can I operate them to Russia? Nope. Can I operate them to Britain? Okay. Not sure what good that'll do. But we'll operate one of them there. The Americans, can we afford to purchase anything? The Miracle Corps? Nope. Cavalry Corps? Nope. Fighters, airships, escort carriers. We could do escort carriers. It's an interesting idea. We'll do that. We'll purchase an escort carrier. So the American fleet has a couple of warships coming. It's got the Essex coming in December. The escort carrier, one of them will come in August. So that'll come actually right before the Essex will come online. So we'll get a couple of carriers in late 42. Meanwhile, let's not forget about the China front. That corps in the north. China's in trouble. I mean, these guys should be out of supply, but it looks like we're the ones out of supply. Trying to bring some reinforcements up. Okay. Meanwhile, on the Indian front, would actually be the other thing is Japan hasn't gone for Indochina, which makes things a little bit more complicated in terms of our ability to support the enemy, or the enemy of Japan there. We also have troops just kind of chilling out in Africa that I'm not really doing anything with. I've got small elements of British units kind of all over the map. Doing a really poor job of managing resources there. We'll leave the Indian... I don't know. Like, these American troops may get hit by submarines if they detect the weak spots in the convoy. I set that up poorly. The goal, obviously, is to land at Cadiz and then take Gibraltar. But that's a fortification, and presumably the... well, we should be able to see, actually. Well, they may not have troops there. Actually, it looks like... we can't really see if they have troops there in Gibraltar, but I would assume they do. I suppose if Gibraltar is guarded, we could always layer on American troops in Tangier and take that element of the Spanish frontier. But Italy looks like it's going to be a tough slog. We're going to have to... we really, to crush Italy, I think we'd have to have an overwhelming force so that we could land and take Palermo and Syracuse in one turn. Simultaneously, we need to land and overwhelm Naples and Rome. And if we could do that, we might shock Italy into surrender without a bloody drive up the peninsula. But I'm nowhere near being ready for that. I need like another year, and I don't think the Soviets can hold out a year. I think, honestly, as soon as the weather clears, I think the Soviets are going to get rolled. Then I don't have any idea how I would hold up against the Axis there. I don't know. We'll see. I'm a little bit pessimistic at the moment, guys. I'm sure you can hear it in my voice. We could go for a real soft underbelly invasion and go for Italian Albania and Yugoslavia. Kind of really get in behind the Eastern Front. The Indians have any diplomatic chits? They do. I'm going to invest all of my Indian money into trying to keep Turkey out of the war. Should have done that with Spain. Anyway, that's going to do it for this episode, guys. I hope you're enjoying the series. Let me know your thoughts below. As always, and until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you for watching, and I'm out.